Mr. Issa, Chairman Issa. He has more patents than I do. I only have 26. I think you have about 35 or some number.
37.
30. Who's counting? Who's counting, right? And he's been very, very successful, obviously. And I'm somewhat disturbed that he, of all people, was working on this America Invents legislation, which, in our view as inventors, all of us, recognize as the destruction of the American patent system, number one, the destruction of American intellectual property, the destruction of American technology. It is a very, very destructive thing. We have been, and I'm disappointed with the Republicans who had been the way of stopping this for the past 15 years that they've been trying to get this through. If I told you that this legislation would make it so that virtually no inventors, no new inventions, will be able to get through the patent office and get anything coming out at the other end because it is going to be delayed longer and longer, it is going to be re-examined, and what we consider I'm getting a little confused, I'm a little upset about this, right? Anyway, forgive me, but it is a terribly destructive thing, and I'm glad Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, I love you, all three of you voted against it. With Ms. Blackburn saying what she had stated, I'm surprised you voted for it, because it is a technical disaster.
Thank you. I have no idea what the man was talking about.
Okay. Tucker, briefly, very briefly, it is law. There is a real question about whether the new re-examined procedures are going to be used and abused. And George is absolutely right. This was a big bill that took 4 Congresses to get through. And at the end of the day, it had a couple of controversial areas. This was one of them. How do you get re-examination right? How do you get it so it's not consistently leaving inventors finding that they have no certainty, no quiet enjoyment of their patents, that instead they just keep going back into a form of re-examination? And it is an area that the Committee Judiciary is going to look at. We probably will hold hearings on it as soon as we have enough case law to see whether, in fact, there is an abuse. But it is important that the PTO not endlessly open re-examinations and post-grant oppositions to hurt the inventor. This was one of those bills, and Tucker, you can be a solid conservative, but ultimately sometimes you just have this basket of things that is the best you can do. And after 4 Congresses, there were things, including where you went to court instead of East Texas for everything, that we finally got something passed. But the gentleman's absolutely right. It is an area that we're going to continue to be concerned about whether it, in practice, hurts. And if it does, quite frankly, we're going to have to bring up a fix on it.
Any other questions?